someone else's. God's timing is perfect, even when it feels painfully slow. You are not forgotten. There are moments in life when you feel invisible. You walk through your days carrying burdens that no one sees, smiling on the outside while your heart feels heavy inside. You pray, but the answers seem delayed. You wonder if God still hears you, if he still sees you, if your pain even matters anymore. But here's the truth you must hold on to. God has never forgotten you, not for a single second. Even when the world overlooks you, even when people walk away, even when silence surrounds your prayers, God is fully aware of your struggle. The Bible reminds us that God knows every tear that falls from your eyes. He knows every sleepless night, every anxious thought, every quiet cry you make when no one else is around. Your pain is not meaningless and your waiting is not wasted. Sometimes God's silence is not abandonment, it is preparation. While you wait, He is shaping your character, strengthening your faith, and aligning events in ways you cannot yet see. The delay does not mean denial. If you are still breathing today, it means your story is not over. God does not give life without purpose. He does not allow pain without redemption. Hold on, even when it hurts. Trust Him, even when you do not understand. God finishes what He starts. God is working, even when you cannot see it. One of the hardest lessons in faith is learning to trust God when nothing makes sense, when doors close instead of opening, when prayers feel unanswered, when life looks nothing like you hoped it would. But faith was never meant to depend on what you can see. Faith begins where understanding ends. God works behind the scenes in ways that are often invisible to us. Think about a seed planted in the ground. For a long time, nothing appears to happen. The soil looks empty, but beneath the surface, growth is happening. Roots are forming. Strength is developing. In the same way, God is working in your life even when it looks like nothing is changing. Your setbacks are not signs of failure. They are often setups for something greater. God uses broken moments to build unshakable faith. He uses closed doors to redirect you toward better paths. Do not rush the process. Do not compare your journey to someone else's. God's timing is perfect, even when it feels painfully slow. What He is preparing for you requires patience, maturity, and trust. Stay faithful in the waiting. Keep praying. Keep believing. What God has promised, He will fulfill. Your pain has a purpose. Pain is something we all want to avoid, yet it is something we all experience. There are wounds that go deeper than words, scars that cannot be seen, and losses that leave permanent marks on the heart. But as hard as it is to believe, God never wastes pain. Every tear you cry, every heartbreak you endure, every season of suffering has a purpose beyond what you can imagine. Pain teaches us dependence on God. It humbles us. It reminds us that we are not in control, and that is not a weakness, but a gift. Because when we are weak, God's strength becomes visible. Your suffering may not make sense now, but one day it will. One day you will look back and realize that what almost broke you actually built you. It deepened your compassion, strengthened your faith, and prepared you to help others who are walking the same path. God heals the brokenhearted. He restores what was lost. He brings beauty from ashes. Do not let pain convince you that God has abandoned you. He is closest to you in your darkest moments. Do not give up. God is not finished. There may be days when giving up feels easier than continuing, when the weight is heavy and the hope feels thin, when you are tired of fighting battles that never seem to end. But hear this clearly. God is not finished with you. Done, you would not be here. The fact that you are still standing, even barely, is proof that His grace is still at work in your life. You are stronger than you think, not because of your own strength, but because God carries you when you cannot carry yourself. He renews strength to the weary. He lifts those who fall. Do not quit in the middle of the story. Breakthrough often comes right after the hardest season. Dawn always follows the darkest night. Hold on. Take one more step. Say one more prayer. The same God who brought you this far will carry you the rest of the way. You were created for a greater purpose. You are not an accident. You are not a mistake. You are not insignificant. God created you intentionally with a purpose that only you can fulfill. The world may try to define your worth by success, status, or perfection, but God defines you by His love. You are valuable because He says so. You are chosen, forgiven, and deeply loved. Your past does not disqualify you. Your failures do not define you. God specializes in redemption. He turns broken people into powerful testimonies. You were created to bring light into dark places, to show kindness in a cruel world, to reflect God's love through your words and actions. Walk boldly in faith. Trust God with your future. The plans He has for you are greater than anything you could imagine. When everything feels heavy, God is still carrying you. There are seasons in life when everything feels heavy, not just physically, but emotionally and spiritually. You wake up tired, even after sleeping. You carry worries that no one else notices. You keep going, not because you feel strong, but because you don't know how to stop. In those moments, it is easy to believe that you are alone, that God is distant, that your strength is running out. But the truth is this: when you feel weakest, God is carrying you the closest. God never asked you to carry everything by yourself. He never expected you to have all the answers, all the strength, or all the solutions. He only asked you to trust Him, especially when life feels overwhelming. Sometimes God allows the weight to become heavy so you will finally put it down. Not because He wants to see you struggle, but because He wants you to rest in Him. There is a difference between giving up and letting go. Letting go means placing your burdens into God's hands. You may not feel His presence right now, but feelings are not proof of absence. God is near to the brokenhearted. He walks with you through every valley, even when you cannot see the path ahead. If today all you can do is breathe and survive, that is enough. God honors endurance. He sees your effort, and He promises that those who wait on the Lord will renew their strength. God's timing is never late. One of the hardest things we are asked to do. We live in a world that demands instant results, instant answers, instant success. And when God does not move as quickly as we want Him to, we begin to doubt. We ask ourselves, why is this? We ask ourselves, why is this taking so long? Why am I still here? Why am I long? Why am I still here? Why hasn't God answered yet? But God's timing is not slow. It is precise. He is never late and He is never early. He is always right on time. What you are waiting for is connected to who you are becoming. God cares more about your character than your comfort. He knows that giving you something too early could harm you instead of help you. In the waiting, God teaches patience. He builds faith. He removes distractions. He prepares you for blessings that require maturity and wisdom. Do not measure God's faithfulness by your calendar. Some promises take time because they are big. Some prayers are answered slowly because they require deep transformation. Trust the process. Trust the timing. Trust the God who sees the full picture while you only see one moment. What God has planned for you will arrive at exactly the right time. God sees you in the quiet battles. There are battles you fight that no one else knows about. Struggles you keep hidden behind calm expressions and polite words. Nights when your thoughts are louder than your voice and prayers feel more like whispers than declarations. God sees those battles. Nothing about your pain is invisible to Him. Even the fights you lose in private matter to God because they shape your heart and deepen your dependence on Him. You may feel weak for struggling, but weakness is not failure. It is an invitation for God's strength to enter. God does not shame you for being tired. He does not turn away because you feel afraid. He draws closer. Every silent prayer you pray is heard. Every tear you hide is counted. God is not measuring your faith by how strong you appear, but by how honestly you come to Him. In the quiet battles, God is teaching you endurance. He is teaching you trust when answers are delayed. And even when you feel like you are barely holding on, God is holding on to you much tighter. Do not underestimate the power of staying faithful in silence. Victory often begins in places no one applauds. God can redeem what feels lost. There are moments when life feels like a collection of losses: lost time, lost relationships, lost opportunities, dreams that never came true, prayers that seem unanswered. It is painful to accept that some things will never return in the same way. But God is not limited by loss. He is a God of restoration. What feels wasted to you is not wasted to God. He can take broken pieces and create something meaningful from them. He can bring purpose out of pain and hope out of disappointment. Redemption does not always mean getting back what you lost. Sometimes it means receiving something deeper, stronger, and more lasting. God replaces regret with wisdom. He replaces sorrow with compassion. He replaces emptiness with peace. Your past does not disqualify you from God's future. Even your mistakes can become testimonies of His grace. Trust God with what feels beyond repair. He specializes in restoring hearts, renewing minds, and creating new beginnings.